Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Friday night craft beer hangout from Craft Beer Nation. It is Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard, and it is just Freddie and I this evening so far. I got a couple of folks that might join here in a little bit, but we are starting as close to on time as we can. It's still about 10 minutes late, but everyone will just have to forgive and forget. So here we go. But just Freddie in Boston, me in Virginia. And Freddie, how are you, man? What do you got in your glass?
What's going on, man? How's everything going?
Very well.
Good, good. I just cracked open a beer from The Vale Brewing Company. I know you're very familiar with them. But
I
heard
have a
about
few
them.
of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't ever want to be you. Oh, I don't want to be you. Excuse me. IPA. The whole zero IBU theory.
Yeah. Right.
Actually, I have had this because we had it. I had this when we were at The Vale in June.
Yeah.
So cheers.
Have you read about it? I mean, I know you've had it, and I've had it before. I like it, but I don't understand the whole zero IBU. Is it just dry hopping? So they're saying it's not
Yeah,
getting any bittering units. It's just getting hop flavor.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know the exact like what or how they came about the name or why, but I find it hard to believe. Like, I mean, it's damn near impossible, I think, to have no bittering units, right? I mean, even sugar can give you its bittering, has
Yeah.
a bittering unit to it,
Yeah.
So
But maybe they just mean no hops in the boil. I don't know.
yeah, I never, to be honest, I've never even I can look into it. I just never really.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah,
I had the same curiosity, but the I didn't have the wherewithal to follow through. So, but the crucial taunt is their double dry hop version of the crucial taunt. Did you get some of that in your beer trade?
yes, I have.
Yeah,
Actually, I cracked one open today, crucial tom tom, which is
that
really.
it is insanely hopped up, and
Yeah.
the literature I read on that said for each barrel of beer they use 7.5 pounds of hops.
Yeah.
I mean, for 31, I mean, what's a barrel? 31 gallons.
Yep.
So that's a significant. I mean, if they've got a 15 barrel, I don't know. That's a
Mm,
pretty expensive beer to make, isn't it?
yeah, I mean,
Maybe,
especially with the
maybe,
hops, man.
yeah. Right.
That's
So
gonna be.
maybe my math is off, and maybe I misread it, and maybe it was just some ass on the internet that decided to make those numbers up.
How many? What were you saying? How many pounds?
He
What,
said
what was
the
the?
thing I read said 7.5 pounds of hops per barrel. Right. that was my first thing too. I mean, it's bright and it's
Yeah,
powerful,
it's really, really good. Absolutely.
but yeah, but boy, I'm thinking, what's a pound of hops cost? Jeez.
Yeah, especially. I wonder what it's hopped with because I know Galaxy, all those New Zealand, Australian hops can get hopped with.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't
tell
know
me,
what their contract looks like either.
so that's the I don't want to be you. There is an I don't ever want to be you. That's not it. This is
Uh,
the
yeah, this is
normal
the
version.
regular. I don't want to be you.
Yeah.
Um,
Hold it up. It looks like it was a pretty orange color.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is definitely like per usual. You know, I mean, you can't see my finger behind
Yeah.
that glass whatsoever. It's completely gone. Magic trick.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, definitely super, super, super hazy and nice, like this like burnt orange kind of color to it. You know, I mean, this side of the glass is actually facing the light, so it's gonna look a little different. But yeah, it's like this burnt orange uh, color to it. Almost no head. You can tell already. I mean, it's leaving a beautiful lacing on the glass. Proper glassware.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, man, big. I mean, there's like a citrus in here. There's this like ripe kind of peach. You get this like again. I almost always want to guess mosaic when I smell like a berry note, and that's what I smell in this. It's just like this like blueberry kind of blackberry kind of smell to it. Uh, yeah, it's funny. It's pretty a very nice coating. I wouldn't say like very medium or very heavy um mouthfeel to it, but it's definitely a silky mouthfeel, maybe medium minus. Um, Very enjoyable. It
Yeah.
has some dank like resin to it too, but it's not overly overly bitter whatsoever. But it's enough there to kind of stop you from smashing it down completely.
Yeah.
For 2 gulps.
Huh. And what was that was like a regular IPA. That was like a 5 or 6 ABV.
Yeah, I think it's 6.9.
6.9.
Yeah, which that's why I'm like, I don't know where they got that BU part, because I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love to look it up right now, but yeah, it doesn't look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be finding.
Well, I've got in my glass here. Let me get the price sticker off of it here. I've got there's Champion Brewing in Charlottesville, and they seem to make a lot of noise on their. They've got a gold medal, I think, for their Killer Kolsch, GABF gold medal, and last year they won gold or silver for their shower beer. You might have heard of that one. That was another summer lager that they seem to be killing it with the lagers, but every now and then they have an IPA release and people just go apeshit over it. And in fact, a friend who lives in Richmond came to Charlottesville, I don't know when, a little while ago, I guess, to trade for some Fruitless. This is their.
Nice.
This is a double.
I think I've seen those cans around, to be honest.
Yeah. So that was the thing, was he came up and he traded for it, and he had some Veil stuff, and he traded with this guy and everything else. And then I saw it on the shelf in the store yesterday, so I grabbed a 6er of it, for $11 or whatever. So. Yeah. I guess rarity is perception, perhaps. And I think they have like a big release party, so maybe that kind of makes people think that it's rarer. But this can date is June 15, so June 15th of this year. So so 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. So maybe they did another release of it or something. But this is a 70 IBU, 8%. Double IPA, a West Coast style double IPA hopped exclusively with the elusive Mosaic hop. So I already know what the hop profile is going to taste like, but I mean, this thing is just a couple SRM darker than yours. Yeah. This is a little more towards, I would call it not quite a coppery color, but an orange kind of color here. So pretty hazy. I don't think that's what they're going for with this West Coast style hop. I think it might just be some chill haze or just some unfilteredness, but let's get into it. I'm sitting right in front of a fan, so it's blowing it. Wow.
How's that treating you?
Well, I mean, Mosaic has got that. Mosaic is an interesting hop because Mosaic starts with the floral kind of tropical fruit, but then it finishes so bitter. On the back of the tongue, it's got that earwax kind of, strong, overwhelming finish to it. And it really lingers, but I mean, the body is light to medium. Like the body's what you'd expect out of an 8% IPA,
Yeah, gotcha.
Kind of there isn't any heat to it, but if I were to say the malt build on it, I'm reminded of Wings of Armageddon. So you've got kind of, how that you've had that beer enough times to know how it wasn't really sticky sweet, but it was sweet enough. It was sweet enough to kind of carry the big hop presence. Well, that's all Galaxy, right? Wasn't that all Galaxy? No, it's all.
I don't think Wings. Isn't that?
Falconer's Flight. Yeah, that's it. It's all Falconer's Flight there. So, but this one, wow. I mean, I haven't taken a sip in 30 seconds, and the Mosaic is still hanging right out on the back of my tongue. Yeah. This is the kind of beer that would ruin your palate for the rest of the night. So, I mean, 70 IBUs. So there's plenty. Yeah. It's all Mosaic. There's plenty of bittering in there.
Malt sweetness, you said.
Yeah, it isn't as florally aromatic as it might be, but there again, it's 6-7 weeks old. 6 weeks old, so maybe some of that is fading a little bit. But
And these are $11 for a sixer, right?
yeah,
That's
11.
that's good.
I mean, that's in fact that's about Lagunitas anymore. Lagunitas used to be under 10, and now when I'm in the grocery stores, it's 10 and a half, close to 11 a sixer. So, um, and that Lagunitas has always been like the cheapest price point. In fact, I was in the store today. I'm looking to try and get my father-in-law some of that Czech Pilsner, the Czech pills from Lagunitas. You know, he likes PBR, and I'd like to try and wean him off of that. But I need to, right. But I need to get him. I need to bring him something that is. I hand him one of these, and he's done. He's not gonna. He'll quit.
Baby steps.
That's right, baby steps. And that Lagunitas, the Czech pills, is nice. But so I was in there, and they had that Mocha IPA from Stone on the shelf.
Yes.
Have you had that yet?
I have not.
Yeah,
I have a bottle shop near me that has some, but I just didn't pull the trigger. Now I don't even know if I want to pull the trigger anymore, to be honest.
Well, I've heard a couple of things about it, and I thought, well, I'd like to try it myself because, chocolate and the hop might be in it something interesting. It was $16 for a sixer.
Yeah, see.
And I just thought, man, I've always thought Ballast Point was a little full of themselves for Sculpin being 16, $17 a sixer. But here's a Stone beer. I guess it's not made in Virginia yet, so they do have to ship it all the way from the West Coast. But I don't know. And I shouldn't be upset about that price point because that's still less than $3 a beer. So you go to happy hour and you're only getting $5 pints, on draft. So
it's not. Excuse me. But then again, I don't know. Someday I think it comes down to Stone and the distribution. They should be able to kind of manage price points.
Now, my second beer tonight is going to be when maybe I'm not going to drink that now because I'm not going to taste it after this big thing. But I've got one of their citrusy wit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it. Yeah, so maybe I'll drink that even after we're off the air just because I want to get into it. But I've got that in the fridge. I only got a single bottle of that.
To cleanse the palate quickly.
Yeah, but as we talked earlier in the week, my son decided he can only drink water this week. So I've been on the water wagon with him for 6 days, 7 days. So this is my first night of drinking.
Yeah, I kind of almost 2 weeks, I think, on medication. So I cut out drinking, man. It's funny. I put on a pair of shorts early today, and I'm like, these feel a little looser. Check that out.
Yeah.
Gotta get a little sick more often.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe I should stay on the water. Maybe I should resume those kind of things too, because I could certainly care to lose a few.
Got a craving the other day. I was like, oh, it's one of those tough days at work, tough days at home.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need a beer. Oh, can't have one.
Well, I had a root canal a couple of years ago, and they gave me an antibiotic before I had the root canal. And the dentist said, I'm not even playing. Do not drink alcohol. If you even swallow mouthwash while you're on this stuff, I think it was called Flagyl was the antibiotic. If you even swallow mouthwash, you are going to be so violently ill that you're going to regret it immediately. Yeah. So, so that was like 13 days of not drinking because I was scared.
Excuse me. Oh man.
Yeah. So
what else have you been looking at for beers or new beers or?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying these the reviews that you guys are doing. I'm trying to do some of the reviews. I just don't have the time, and I haven't made the time. I guess I have it. I just haven't focused on it. Yeah. But these reviews that you and Randy and Gil and Jeff are putting out are pretty awesome, making me want to drink a lot more than I should.
Yeah, there's a lot of good beer, man. That's a fun part right now. That way we have access to it.
Well, and we kind of have to race. If I've got some beer, and if it's new and I want to review it, I have to hurry before you or Randy get to it.
Yeah. And that's how I felt when I got again, I had 2 weeks off pretty much with drinking, and of course that's when like all the trades come in. So I'm getting like boxes of Veil, I'm getting like Other Half, I'm getting like tons of stuff from like different areas, different states, and I'm just like looking at the cans and the bottles. I'm like.
And it's all stuff you want to drink fresh,
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
yeah.
I was. My wife was like, "Do all this." I'm like, "I gotta pound these things down quickly or share them." Or, well, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been definitely gotta get into some of these, maybe some tonight too. Start
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I know I definitely feel the same way because I think it was it last night. I think I did a review last night of a new, it's new to Trillium. It's not new. It's kind of whatever. They brewed our take again. They changed the name and they made it into a new series. And I think they may have changed a couple of things in it, but reviewed this beer. And then before that, prior to the review, I'm like literally talking to Gil and Randy, and I'm like, hey, let, let's go over something real quick because I got a bunch of beers here that I just got. Has anyone reviewed this, that? And I'm like shooting off things. Yes, no, maybe. I'm not sure. I got to check it. I'm like, all right, let me go to what I know no one's reviewed then.
Well, but think of all that beer you can just freely drink then
Oh,
that's already been reviewed. It's like, oh, there's no, I can drink this at 1 in the afternoon because I don't have to set my camera up to
yeah,
review
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I
I
think people, that's one thing I kind of admire too. Like before we started reviewing, and now I'm like, all right, there's certain beers I want to drink because I want to review them. And then
yeah.
there's these times where I'm like, I want to sit down right where I'm at here, browse the internet, and just drink. Not worry about a review, just turn it off for a little while.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable, man. It's fun.
Well, I usually am a little earlier to bed than some of the other guys, but anybody who's watching and wants to join the after party, man, sometimes you guys go on till 2 or 3 in the morning. I know Randy does.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
My geez almighty. So, I'm going to drink 2 beers in the next half hour. Well, this one and another one in the next half hour. But, man, I'm not a 5 or 6 beer guy anymore. So, if I had the porch bombs that you've gotten in the last week, that would be like 2 months worth of beer.
All right.
I'd
Yeah,
have
that's the
I'd
thing. Like
have
you
to
said,
give
though, you
some of it
want to
away.
drink them like so fresh too, so it's like added pressure. You're
Yeah.
just like, damn.
Well, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Cause those, when we were up, at Savor, I got that beer from Aslan. I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
two crowlers from Aslan. And the guy said, oh yeah, you kind of want to drink these right around 10 days. That was when
yeah,
he felt
yeah,
that they
yeah,
peaked.
yeah. They're kind of
And
young at the time.
right. And then life, then summer and life. And all of a sudden it's the first week of July. And I'm like, crap.
Yep.
Those beers went from 0 days old to 30 days old.
Pretty quick. Yep.
Kids, kids, and like you
Uh-huh.
said, the house and work and everything else. So
Oh, yeah, for sure. And just beer alone, though. I mean, it's we're like lucky in that kind of sense too, right? Because we have access to all this great beer, but then it's like you open your fridge, let's say, and all these choices. It's really a good dilemma to have, but it's still a dilemma, right?
yeah,
It's like, what do I want to drink today? Then I'm like, I want to drink this can. However, this bottle is older, and I should just drink this now before it gets too old and things change. So now, it's no
yeah.
longer stick my hand in the fridge, grab a good beer and drink. Now I'm like looking at dates on here. I'm
There's
like,
yeah.
shit, this
But
sucks.
where are we going to go from here? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
for
this
sure.
this freshness craze is really extremely recent. And I guess it's just because the later the addition of the hops, the more volatile the oils. Is that what it is?
It must be. I mean,
Or is it
yeah.
just all in our heads? Are we just elitist punks that think we have to drink this stuff? No,
I mean,
that's not crap because, and maybe my palate is more advanced than it was years ago. But if I don't drink this Veil, and I've had some Veil in there that was a month old, and when I open it, it tastes different. It
yeah.
tastes the hops begin to change in profile.
Yeah, things start dropping off. Some of the notes
Right,
aren't as strong as they used to be.
right.
I think it's a mixture, like you said, of everything because I think our palates are now that we've been doing it for a while and drinking, etc. Your palate's kind of accustomed to what a flavor may or what a hop may or
Yeah,
should bring right to the table. And it's not that the beer's at let's say whatever 40 days old, or 55 days old that the beer's bad by any means. But you drink that beer at 5 weeks. I mean, 5 weeks, 5 days old. It's a noticeable difference.
yeah.
Um, like for instance, I know, like for instance, for Trillium, a lot. Obviously, I've been drinking. I drink a lot of Trillium. They're close to me, etc. But a lot of their beers, I noticed too. It's the same thing like the Aslan ones. You get them so fresh. They're very young beer still. And they haven't quite. They're kind of sharp. They have a lot of sharp edges, and they have to like round off. Like you get like some for Trillium. If you drink that beer, usually like in the first 2 days, you're gonna get a much stronger like yeast, like spiciness. For their house yeast, you're gonna get excuse me. I'm almost got like super dry all of a sudden. Like yeah, it's like a spicier yeast. It's the flavors haven't kind of quite melded all together yet. It's still like stupid good, obviously. But if you drink that same beer and you give it like 10 days, give it like a good 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, it's even better most of the time. A lot of the double
Yeah.
dry hop stuff, you just kind of let it sit there and kind of create itself and build itself up.
Yeah.
But then,
Which is
like you said,
probably what Aslan was saying was
yeah,
give this thing 10 days and let it rest
yeah, yep.
and present.
Get stuff together. Didn't really experience it. But then, like you said, though, it's if you go too far out, things start to change. The hops kind of
Yeah.
I think that's a mixture of our palate and B the brewing process that they're doing to.
But 2 years ago, I wouldn't have thought anything about it.
Whirlpool. Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time anybody pulled a Ranger IPA out of the gas station or a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and went, this one's just a little too old. You know what I mean? It's at 4 or 5 months, it tastes like it did at 1 month, So, and I'm sure that's got to do with the fact that it doesn't have the malt. It doesn't, it's much smaller quantities of hop and malt going into those beers, but I don't know. At some point, we can't get any fresher. I reviewed that crucial taunt, the day after they canned it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
so I can't get it any fresher than that. Unless you drink it off of the bright tank, and then.
Well, I'm glad you said that, and that you bring up a good point. Is that years ago we didn't have access to beer that fresh because there weren't so many breweries around at that time either. Now we have tons of local breweries near us, that bring some awesome beer. We can go to a Trillium, we can go to an Aslan, we can go to a Vale, we can go to Answer Brew Pub,
yeah,
Triple Crossing, whatever you guys have out there. If you have that ability to get there now and have, hey, this beer was canned today, you get to drink at the bar and get the, what I mean? Like you said, or go to like a store before and you have to get the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and you're like, oh, this was bottled in June, it's now August. Money, I'm in there.
Yeah,
perfect.
And I really, it isn't anything new. If you think of other industries where fresher is better, and meats and butchering and all that kind of stuff. When I lived in Ohio for the late 90s, 95 to 99, and of the guy I worked with, actually he was my supervisor at the printing plant. His family owned a bunch of farmland, and they farmed sweet corn. And about this time of year, they'd have this big festival because sweet corn, as soon as you pick it, the sugars in the corn start to get consumed by the plant that doesn't want to die.
Yep.
So the plant isn't getting its nutrients from the stalk anymore. So it starts to consume the sugars in the kernel. So, they say once the corn is never any sweeter than just before you pick it. So they have this big party in the fields in July, and they literally, you just go out and you grab a couple of ears and you rip it off the stalk and you bring it over and they'll boil it right then and you eat it. And I've been to these things and it's fantastic. And the corn is delicious, and it's, but is it a gimmick? Is it a gimmick? If the Vale used less hops, if they used less something, would that beer carry better? Because it's less volatile. I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, but the zombie dust is light bodied, right? So it's a low ABV ale, and it doesn't have. I mean, it's got lots of late addition hops in it. That's how they get their famous flavor, and it doesn't hold up well at all. You got to drink that within the first 2 months, or else it's going to be different than what it was.
Yeah,
so
I just got some.
Did you have some zombie dust?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hurry up and get into it.
Yeah. I might have to crack one open now. Actually.
You're gonna need to take like a week's vacation or something to make up
this Vale.
Yeah, that does go down kind of easy. That one does.
Dangerously easy.
Yeah.
Again, yeah. There's just look at that. Let's change of pace. Looks like Miller Coors makes its second craft beer deal this month.
Uh-oh, they finished the deal on Terrapin. What else did they do?
Today it looks like today they bought out an Oregon-based Hop Valley,
Really?
and they added them to their portfolio.
Premium
There. So
brand. Yeah.
Blue
I've never
Moon,
heard of Hop
Glen
Valley. Have you?
Ivanhoe, St. Archer, Terrapin. No, I haven't. Never.
Yeah.
I have no idea who these guys are, but
Huh. I wonder what made them appealing. And I kind of, and maybe, we'd always said that perhaps AB InBev's whole deal with buying all these craft breweries was to create a position where they were less likely to get, where they were more likely to get approval for their purchase at SAB Miller, right? And that seems to have worked because it looks like that deal is on its way to going through, right?
yeah.
Where AB InBev is buying everything but cores.
Yep.
So
I mean, that's been passed, and it's got the thumbs up for me.
yeah. So what the hell does Miller? What are they doing with this acquisition? It's like
trying to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like okay, Freddie, I agree to buy your house. Okay, Matt, we've got a contract, and then you paint all the rooms.
Yeah,
what's that all about? No, don't paint the room.
Instead of you buying it.
Yeah, you paint them all pink or something. What are you doing, man? I bought your. I don't know.
So it looks like, I mean, who knows? This has probably been conspired or whatever. So Hop Valley opened originally, and it's in Springfield, Oregon, 2009.
Yeah.
They make, I guess they're mostly hoppy, I guess, Hop Valley. A lot of hoppy IPAs. That's what they specialize in. Last year they did 38,000 barrels.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really kind of big.
Well, I've never even heard of that. When I saw 38,000 barrels right now, I'm like, I didn't even heard of these guys.
I think, to put that in perspective, I think 6 Point is like 25,000 barrels.
Hop Valley's largest brands: flagship IPA, Alphadelic, and Citrus Mistress. This is new to me.
I guess it's just got to be, far west, northwest distribution. It's like when we interviewed Alaskan Brewing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we made 200,000 barrels of beer last year." You did what? Yeah. I've never seen you on a shelf. They don't come to the East Coast, so I guess it's,
Then you got the opposite, like brewery, right? They seem so much bigger than what they really truly are.
Really are, just because, yeah. Well, because I guess a distributor over here might only get 3 cases of something or 4 cases of something, and they're gonna sell it for $30 a bottle. So, yeah, that is kind of nuts.
They gobbled them up. That's interesting. I wonder. Like you said, it's I don't know. They probably were told, like, listen, this is what you're gonna do. Go buy these guys. Give us a jump start.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but what was the big deal that when the AB bought Elysian, and then they bought Breckenridge, and then they bought, and then they bought, and then they bought. And I guess maybe if they just keep doing that, we won't know what to drink. There's only a few of us, because really I don't think the majority of the people who care. The ones, hey, I want something a little better than Budweiser. I want something a little hoppier. I'm going to go out and I'll get Sierra Nevada, or I'm going to get, I don't think they really care who owns it. I think it's just I'd hate to call us elite, but more like elitists, that really care. Cause, I still like some stuff from Breckenridge and Randy.
How dare you?
I know. And Randy, you give me such a hard time about it. So, although that Mosaic mango thing was very good, and I like mango and Mosaic. I haven't
had Breckenridge in a long time, man.
Yeah,
I'm talking about years.
Yeah. But going back to our earlier conversation, you got more Vale and more local beers in your house right now than you can drink. So right. So
actually, let me grab another one. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Keep them entertained, man. Do a dance, sing a song.
I do a little dancing. Maybe do a little break. No, that's really not what a fat guy should ever be seen doing on the lawn. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody's bought.
Done. Back. That was quick.
Everybody is bought. Every industry goes through this. There was a infographic here I'd seen where like almost 80% or 90% of all food in the grocery store is owned by like 6 companies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
all those brands all
a lot
come
of
back to PepsiCo and Coca-Cola and
there's a bunch of like documentaries. Like my sister's like big into this, and she comes out of to see my sons, and we'll sit like whatever, just hanging out at nighttime, watching some Netflix or something, having a few drinks, whatever. And she's like, it's like, let's watch this documentary on whole food or like some farm. And it's funny when you really like look into that, like you said, like a lot of these I mean, it's conglomerates, right? This huge
right.
industry, and they have lobbyists, and they have people in their pocket, and they fool us because we automatically see something here and we say, all right, hey, this is at Whole Food, this meat comes grass-fed beef, and it comes from this place, and this is awesome. But then you look really at that farm or whoever it's where the cattle are coming from, this meat, and it's just this giant farm where one side, this little itty bitty corner of it is like grass-fed beef, and the rest is just like everything else you get. And you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's nothing different. As this person said, hey, I'm going to get into this industry as well, make some extra money. So you're not really beating as I say, you're not beating the man per se.
That's right. I'm just gonna, and really, all I'm gonna do is I'm not even gonna get into that industry. I'm just gonna make a product that sounds like I'm in that industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna use the same glass because I'm a rebel.
Yeah, I think I've had both beers in the same glass here too. What did you get?
Zombie dust, since you brought it up.
Oh, since I talked it. All right.
You reminded me. I said, hey, this is a good one. So this was bottled the 8th of June.
All right. So you got 6 weeks on that one.
Yeah. So we got
7 weeks.
So got quite a bit.
Yeah. Let me see the bottle on that again.
Yeah.
Have they changed the packaging or nope? Exactly the same.
Zombie dust. Yep.
Yeah.
Same old 3 Floyds, and you can see. Look at the. This has just got quite a bit of. I just pulled it out of the fridge. So you can see some chill haze to it, but
yeah,
it's much more filtered than you ever.
Oh yeah.
Well, I bet you give it some time, a little bit of time. It's gonna be. You can see already starting to clear up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But zombie dust is one of those. Again, it's a. I believe zombie dust is a pale ale. Yeah, pale
it
ale.
is a pale ale. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pale ale in the same way that the Public is from DC Brow. It's a a 60 IBU pale ale, or it's a late edition big floral. So it's pale ale in malt, it's pale ale in ABV, but it's IPA and hop profile.
Wow. It's been a while. I haven't had zombie dust in probably like this is my first. I'd say well over a year, maybe.
Yeah.
More longer than that, maybe.
You sent some beer to somebody in Chicago or Illinois, Midwest.
Yeah, Illinois. We did a nice little friendly share of stuff, and actually after this, I think I might crack a stout because I really wanted to get into one of these Midwest stouts that he sent me. But anyway, excuse me, man, it's super dry throat here. Zombie dust, it's one of those beers. I bet, like you said, I bet you this super fresh off the tap is probably like wow, especially at its time, right? Like
right.
Zombie dust builds a name like Heady Topper, all these guys, and Pliny. Like you said, it's just a different beer in itself. It's much more floral. It's much sweeter as malt build.
Yeah.
It's a much more prominent malt build. It's not more like it's almost more balanced, I guess I want to say as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Only because a lot of these like the Vales, the Trilliums, the Treehouse, they have a much simpler malt build because they really want to let the hops kind of do everything, right? And that's where they kind of just overdrive these hops into the beer. Where this, you can actually like there in this zombie dust I'm drinking now, you can actually like for me, there is this like slight like this crackery kind of bready maltness to it. There's just like there's a sweetness that's coming to this, and the hops are more like it's much more floral, very slightly bitter, but it's not like this juicy kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's when I say it's a little bit more balanced, what I'm saying is like it's not an overabundance of hey, this is, you know what I mean? Like it's not like
Yeah.
a bomb of juice. Well, it's a pill anyway, I guess, you know.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe in at 7 weeks or 6 weeks from bottling, I wonder if maybe you're not in that area where you're between the hops fading and then the hops turning, you know, and where those hops have maybe faded back just enough to make the malt more prevalent. Because when I drank it, really, I got a case of it, and I had it delivered to me. Guy came back from Chicago, and I had it within like 3 days of the bottle date, and there wasn't any malt to me. It was just this beautiful.
I've never ever had it that fresh, so I wouldn't know.
Beautiful, really light body. You know, it's got a little more roast to it than you would expect, but I guess that's kind of where pale ale kind of its strength is. And then, but it was all hop. And then, I drank like 3 6-pack. I shared some of it, and I put a 6-pack on the shelf in the cellar, and I forgot about it. And it was a year later, and I'm like, damn it, there's that zombie dust, a year old. So I put it in the fridge, and I popped one open, and it was terrible. The hops were
rest in peace.
Yeah. So I dumped the last 6 of those, those things down the drain, and I felt bad as I watched that going down, but it was, my fault. Nobody to blame but me, but still, maybe you're right in that
right though, because this definitely, it has a malt sweetness to this, and it's a much more, it's very like, you get a slight bitter, very floral. Like there's not too much, like if you were to say what, like nothing really per se jumps out of me as like, we're so used to reviewing, right? So like my custom, like I'm trying to like match something up, and I'm like, no, I violets and petunias and there's no fluids. There's like a very floral, like grassy kind of presence to this, but it's not bad per se. I mean, I'll drink this. I'll drink this June 8th bottle all day over some beers as well. Still, I mean, because there's beers that get brewed. They'll be brewed tomorrow. That tastes like this, fresh. So,
man, how much of that did you get? Just a couple bottles of it?
I just got 2 bottles. It was actually these were the only 2, let's say, hoppy beers that I got in the box. Most of it was stouts and barley wines.
Yeah, well, those you can sit on while you drink the veil stuff, or while you drink the fresh hop stuff.
For sure. Some of it I want to crack, because that's another thing, man. I'm getting to the point, Matt. You like you said, you put something away, and you kind of like life hits you, and other beers get at you, and the next thing you know, you're really. It's unfortunate, I think, for the beer and for you, right? Because like even some stouts and stuff, like coffee stouts, I know I have some coffee stouts in there, and I can guarantee the coffee is pretty much just, boiled away, and some of the adjuncts are just gone because it's been so long. I just never got to it, and I'm not gonna have the same experience.
Yeah,
in those beers as well. I mean, it's not gonna go bad, but it's just not gonna be the same.
And I've got some of those on the shelf too. That they need. It's a little hot. I want to let it rest, and then it's 4 years later. So. I have a beer fridge here, and I guess you've got one. I think I hear you've got one down there too. But
I have my little cellaring spot.
Yeah,
I have
and
IPAs and some stuff that I want to do quick.
When just before, have you ever been in a hangout with Boris?
Yes.
You are okay. I seemed like he was going abroad just as you were joining the group there, but we did a hangout before he left Santa Fe. But I guess he was somewhere in New Mexico, and he sent us all kicking chicken, and then what was there was a barrel aged version of that as well too.
Oh yeah, I've had chicken chicken and chicken killer.
Chicken Killer, yeah. And so I drank, and it was their, it's a barley wine. So I drank the Kickin' Chicken, and the Chicken Killer. It was been in my fridge in my beer cellar in the fridge for like 3 years now. I think he's in Germany on a tour for the Air Force, and I'm sure he's probably about ready to come back. And it's just one of those kind of things. Every time I open the fridge, I'm like, do I want a barrel aged barley wine right now? No, I don't want a 750 of barrel aged barley wine, or 22.
Yeah.
So that's the one that calls to me and haunts to me. And in fact, I've got some younger beers, some beers that shouldn't have been shelved. For whatever reason, when I started the cellaring project, Pumpkin was just out.
Yeah.
So I've got a vertical like 12, 13, and 14 Pumpkin. What the hell was
it's for science, man.
It's science, yo. Yeah, that's right. And so last year when Pumpkin came out, I thought, I'm not adding to that vertical. That's ridiculous. I'm just going to drink it.
I think I drank like sometime last year. I know I drank like 11th month. Like it was under a year, but still, it wasn't the beer that was. It was an Enjoy by like from January. I think I drank it like December or something like that.
Yeah.
Like right under a year old, and I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Things that shouldn't be cellared, but I'm just.
Not to mention, did you see the picture I sent you guys? There was I'm not gonna say the bottle shop. There's this bottle shop near me, had a Enjoy by for sale.
Oh, for Christmas date or something?
It's $12.25.
Yeah.
Wow. He's still selling it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then,
right.
And then I shouldn't be doing this because he knows I do this YouTube stuff. So, but anyway, too bad because
he should have that shit off the shelf. That's right.
Truth is the truth. Yep. And it'll help everybody in general because some people are going to see that. I have no idea what's going on. They might say, oh, it's $12.25. They have no idea. I'll buy it. That's cool.
Yeah, right.
Must be awesome beer. He found some beers in the back. I guess they must have misplaced, put them on the shelf. I see this beer, and I'll tell you more about the story. Just remind me off air. But anyway, this certain brewery, and I'm very familiar with this brewery. I know when they brew this beer, and I see this beer on the shelf, and I'm thinking to myself, did I miss something? And I was like, there's no way they started brewing this. Then I started questioning myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Did they bring this back? Are they brewing this like year round now? This is awesome. So then I go up and I get the guy and I'm like, hey, come back here with me. I bring him back. I bring him right to the beer. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, dude, there's no way. I'm like, did they just start doing this? He's like, he looks around, like literally like sketchy, like we're doing a drug deal. He looks around. He's like, I found those in the back, man. So I just put them on here for now.
Oh, man.
I'm like, dude, that's like at least 9 months old.
Yeah.
And it just should not be on the shelf, man.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
One of my favorite little seasonal beers is Fireside Chat from 21st Amendment. Have you ever had that? It's a porter, and but it's got these nice little seasonal spices in it. It's supposed to be a winter beer, a winter warmer, and it's sweet and it's cinnamony and nutmeggy. And I saw some of that. Where was it at? It was. It wasn't like a legit bottle shop. It was like a wine shop that had beer. And I saw like 2 6-packs of that, the 2 boxes, the box packaging. And it was like middle of June. And I'm like, man, I mean, it's only really, of course they make that beer in the summer to be ready in the fall, but I don't, can you maybe take that down? Cause nobody needs to be drinking that right now.
It's a big issue though, from the distribution to the bottle shops to the breweries. Cause it's crazy where I know some people in the community call him OG Greg, right? So Greg Beer Reviews I think he's from Southern Virginia.
Oh yeah.
He's a big proponent, man. He'll rant for 20 minutes on the video about, dates on IPAs, date the can, date the bottle, wherever. But if you're making a beer and it's in distribution, you should date the beer.
Yeah.
And I can't knock him for that. Right. And then secondly, this whole dating the case and not the actual Sixers or then the bottles, they just date the case. That's ridiculous.
That's begging for them to abuse. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have like bottle shops like this where it's just like, there's no leeway. Distributors are like, hey,
Yeah.
I have a super good deal for you. Get these 3 cases our day, but I'll give them to you, 70% off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll take them. Somebody will buy them eventually. If
Right.
not, I'll just trash it.
Well, there's a convenience store on the west end of Stanton here, and they really don't. They cater to the lottery ticket scratching
Yeah.
crowd, and it's the whole cooler is all macro. But
Yeah.
every now and then they'll have a pallet. The guy who owns a place must have good friends, a distributor or something. But every now and then there'll be like an end cap in that store, and it will have like $3.99 6-packs of shock top chocolate pretzel,
Yeah.
or pumpkin spice shock top or something. And so I'm
Change it up a
always
little bit.
right. So I'm like, well, I would never pay $12 for that, but maybe I'll try it for $2.99 for 6 of them or something. But I've never have.
Yeah.
But I'm in there. Oh, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and there are $2.99 6-packs of Golden Monkey from Victory.
Victory. Yeah.
That's a 9% triple.
Yeah. Triple.
And so I'm thinking to myself, man, if you're in the store looking for Budweiser or Bud Light, and you grab one of those bad boys and take it home and put it in the fridge, don't look at it and drink 6 of them, you're in a
Yeah, and you're gonna drink them like they're Bud Lights.
yeah, you're having a bad night.
I love a night. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's right. So
That's funny that you mentioned that. See, like I haven't had it's good things to have conversations sometimes because you kind of forget about beers like that in this whole wild beer breweries popping up and what's hot and what's the rave. And I think it's important for us, like, always, which is cool. We have one thing cool about our old Friday hangouts, or what we kind of were before we kind of moved into this, because it was those kind of days where it's like brewery, you're like, oh yeah, you know what, there is Victory. They make some good beer.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Prima Pils is a great pilsner.
Yeah. I mean, Dirt Wolf. Was it
Yeah.
Dirt Wolf? It's a really good beer.
Yeah.
You forget about things like that.
Yeah, Trogs, and we forget about them until they have their big seasonal release. Everybody loses their freaking mind in February when Nugget Nectar comes out.
Nugget Nectar,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, but they make some decent beers, year round. But there again, I've got a fridge full of Ale. Am I going to go get a 6er of Sierra Nevada? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, 21st Amendment. What is the barley wine they make? Don't they have a canned?
Yeah, it's called Lower de Boom.
Lower de Boom.
It's like a 6-ounce can. It's this tiny little can.
Tiny, yeah. It's like $12.
Yeah, and it's a 4-pack, I think, of those.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
A little full of themselves there. Yeah.
I saw that at the bottle shop recently. Again, I haven't had that beer in a long time. I was thinking about, it's funny. I just some days you have to catch Freddie on certain days. If you're a bottle shop, you might catch me feeling like I'm, megabucks. You might catch me feeling like I'm panhandler Freddie.
Yeah,
I might grab the 12.25 Enjoy By.
Yeah. Well, and I always kind of feel guilty when I go into a bottle shop that I usually spend money in. And I'm like, nah, I'm really just, I was in here looking for a particular beer and you didn't have it. I was looking for Puff from 6 Point. And I went to like 2 or 3 different bottle shops till I found it. And the first 2 that I went to that didn't have it, I'm looking for Puff. And they're like, oh, we don't have that. But come over here. Let me show you all this fancy schmancy stuff. I'm like, hey, man, thanks. But,
That's all I want right now.
That's right. I didn't come in here looking for some beer. I came in here looking for a beer. And I'm not going to hold it against you that you don't have it. I'm just not going to spend $50 on stuff that I don't need because I walked in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do my experimentals. I think sometimes I've fallen for that a few times where I go somewhere. I'm like, you know what? I made this trip. Let me grab something. And I'm like,
yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, but that's also the reasons why even my local, I have a bottle shop. I'm talking about when I say close to me, man, I mean like minutes away, like 10-minute jog, 15-minute jog, maybe.
Pretty 20 or 25 for me. I'm a slower jogger.
And you gotta set a good pace.
Yeah.
But in the summer, you gotta go slow.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, they get decent stuff. I mean, he gets not tremendous amounts of things. He gets a case of KBS here and there. He'll get a case of 120, you know, some things like that. Nothing crazy, but you know, really
Right.
good beer. And what was I going with that? I don't know.
Well, you got to keep buying from them, or
Well,
else they won't hold you those things.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that was what you were saying. I've gone in there before, and you know, I'll stop in. I'm like, oh, let's see what he has, anything new. Because sometimes, to be honest, like I'll look for something that's sold out in bigger bottle shops really quick, and
Yeah.
and like 2 weeks later, boom, it lands on the shelf. He has like a case of it, you know, and I'm like, all right. Sometimes I'm like, I missed out on the beer, and I'm pretty sure he'll end up getting it. It might be a week or two after, but he'll get it, and I can get my hands on it. I don't have to worry about any lines or, you know, call for holds or anything. If it's something crazy, sometimes he'll put stuff away for me. It's good to have that little local resource, but
Absolutely.
I've definitely gone in there, like you said, and I'm looking for a beer. Excuse me, and I don't see it. I'm like, and next thing you know, I'm in there for like 40 minutes. My wife has no idea how I can be in a bottle shop for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the same way you look at purses and shoes, this is how I'm looking at beer.
Yeah.
I'm like examining the bottle, looking for dates. I'm looking about what the beer's description is. Maybe I do a quick Google search on it, you know.
Yeah, I'm always cautious about not criticizing. My wife is a violinist, so that can be an expensive instrument to play. So I'm always careful about not criticizing too much on how much she spends on music and violin components, because I don't want her grabbing the credit card receipts and going, "Wait a minute,
what the hell is this? What is Veil?"
yeah, right. So
why are you there?
She's probably our one viewer, and I'm in deep trouble now. So
your first purchase was at 6 p.m. Your last purchase was at 1 a.m.
Yeah, right. And the purchase at 1 a.m. was $200. What did you take home?
Yeah. When were you working again?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Break. It was break. It was lunch.
So, all right. Why don't we take this thing off air? I'm gonna have a second beer, but it's not going to be in the next 10 minutes. So, I will remind everyone who has made it to this 40-minute mark or 50-minute mark in our show. I will remind them that we have a YouTube channel. Click and subscribe to that bad boy for all the good stuff, reviews and pints and quarts that we do on Thursday night, interview show, and who knows what other kind of stuff we're going to have coming back. So check that stuff out and follow us on all the social medias and interact with us. So
hopefully we get the podcast kind of updated and pint sessions and
yes, iTunes and Stitcher and stuff for the podcast as well too. So
a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a little more involved in it than I have been in the last 6 months too. So, so if you want to check out Randy and Gil, I don't know why they're not here, but when they'll be back to our regular shows on Thursday and Friday. So until next week, cheers.
Cheers, guys. Be safe.
And we're